Bhaktivedanta Swami Om Vishnu Paramahansa Paripracharya Stora Shri Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj ki Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री सदि गौर भक्त वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one shall offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, and unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. Nasprayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavate uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and love in service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Tinamine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastata Dasatarine. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurue Namaha. So we're reading from Krishna book, and it's the prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. So I will continue reading from where we stopped yesterday. But before I do so, I would like to recite these two beautiful verses that are in the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, which basically gives us the essence of why we have Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita classes. Nayad vachas chitra padam harer yaso jagat pavitram pragrindita karhichit tadvayasam tirtam usanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramanti usiksaya. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. And then the next verse is Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadavati api namani anantasya yasonikatani shivanti gayanti grinanti sadhava. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sang, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, Srila Prabhupada comments that enthusiasm is created by Shravanam, by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are very enthusiastic also because we have Shri Krishna Janmashtami coming around the corner, And so when devotees are asking for enthusiasm, I do not know where else you can get enthusiasm. This is two very strong areas to get enthusiastic. So let's get together and get enthusiastic. So with that, I'm going to start reading. So these prayers that we are reading, as we know, are prayers being offered by the demigods. This is what is called the Garbhastuti prayers that are being offered by the demigods. So this is the Garbhastuti prayers that are now being offered. So Kansa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctively understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kans became perturbed because he was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who will kill him in the future, had now come. Kans began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb. So it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kans knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kans thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now will be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill his reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her, immediately my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life will all be finished. So when we read and we see the logic that is being used by Kans, we can see that he was a very intelligent person. In fact, most of the demons were very intelligent. Even Ravan was very intelligent. But it's a very important point that we have to understand. Why is this intelligence not being used in the right way? Obviously, they were intelligent, but why are they not devotees? So, Srila Prabhupada comments that because of false ego, when one thinks that everything is centered around me and that I'm the doer of everything, there is no relationship related with Krishna. So the eternal relationship of Krishna is checked by false ego. As we can see, his last statements are, Devaki is a woman and she's under my shelter. She's pregnant. If I kill her, immediately my reputation. See, my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and everything is my. So there is a sense of false ego, Srila Prabhupada states. And because of that, they cannot come to the unalloyed devotional stage. And because they're not coming to the unalloyed devotional stage of bhakti, he is still regarded as a demon, although he has the knowledge. Because Gyan without bhakti is fruitive speculation, Srila Prabhupada says. So this is an important point that I found in Srila Prabhupada's purpose to elaborate more on what Srila Prabhupada is stating here. He further deliberated, a person who is too cruel is as good as dead, even in this lifetime. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime, and after his death, people curse him. On account of his self-identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kans thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. So, Srila Prabhupada in the 10th canto, on the same chapter in the 10th canto, states that the prime reason that Lord Krishna came was not to kill Kans, but was to deliver Devaki. Because the Lord does not need to come to kill these demons. As we know that also when Krishna is killing the demons in the Krishna Leela in Vrindavan, it's not actually Krishna, it's the Vasudev Krishna. It's the Vishnu portion that is actually doing the killing. But Krishna is more interested in relationships with his pure devotees. So Srila Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto states that the main reason was to deliver Devaki. Kans thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. Kans finally decided not to kill Devaki right away, but to wait for the inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the delivery of the child, expecting to kill him as he had done previously with the other babies of Devaki. Thus being merged in the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead, he began to think of Krishna or Vishnu while sitting, sleeping, walking, eating, and while walking. In all the situations of his life, his mind became so much absorbed with the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that indirectly he could see only Krishna or Vishnu around him. Just imagine if we could attain that stage. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. The state of mind of a great devotee is also to be always absorbed in Krishna, but a devotee thinks of him favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably is not Krishna consciousness. As we know, we have 5 rasas or 5 relationships that we can have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those 5 are in the mood of neutrality, in the mood of lover, servant, parent, and then friend. But there is no place for enemy. So as Prabhupada is saying, although Kansa was thinking about Krishna, the mood in which he was thinking was enemy. And we don't have that in the 5 rasas, in the 5 relationships that we can have with Krishna. In addition to that, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord also says, whatever state of mind one thinks, that is what body the person achieves at the time of death. So if you see, he was thinking about Krishna all the time, but his state of mind was not at all thinking conducively. And this is a very important point for us, that yes, although he was thinking of Krishna, that is the stage we want to get at, because we want to always think of Krishna. However, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that it has to be favorably done. So at this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narad and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kans. They began to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select verses, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first words they spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to his vow. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends to this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. And this we know because in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yada yada hi dharmasya, glanir bhavati bharata bhyuttanam adharmasya tatadmanam sarjamyam. That whenever and wherever there is a decline of religion, I descend. So, the first words they spoke and acclaimed was towards this. That is his vow. So the demigods could understand that the Lord had taken his residence within the womb of Devaki to fulfill his vow. And they were very glad that the Lord was appearing in order to fulfill his mission. Now, also, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that the reason that Devaki was so effulgent, because yesterday we heard that it was that the Lord came first in the mind of Vasudeva and then it was transferred into the mind of Devaki. Srila Prabhupada says that the reason that Devaki was so effulgent that Kans could see that was because Lord Krishna was present in the heart of Devaki. So because he was present in the heart, like Mataji stated yesterday, that is the reason that Devaki was showing the effulgence. The effulgence was not coming from our own body. It was coming from the presence of Lord Krishna. And that's what Kans could see and feel, that this effulgence must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the demigods addressed the Lord as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is the philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the Absolute Truth. Krishna is the Absolute Truth because, unlike relative truth, he is truth in all the three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by supreme time, in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing, and when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. If there is any reputation within this material world, the cause of the reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths. So like Gauranga Prabhu was yesterday mentioning, the Lord is opulent in 6 things. And we can see unlimited strength, unlimited beauty, unlimited fame, unlimited renunciation, unlimited knowledge. So these all qualities are in the Lord in unlimited quantities. That's why the word is used is unlimited. So Srila Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning here about the difference between absolute truth and relative truth. Absolute truth is irrespective of the presence of time, which is present, past, and future. While relative truth is related to past, present, and future. That's the basic difference between absolute and relative truth. This material world is composed of 5 principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And all such elements are emanations from Krishna. The material scientists accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of the material manifestation. But the elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna. The living entities who are working within this material world are products of his marginal potency. In the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that the whole manifestation is a combination of 2 kinds of energies of Krishna: the superior energy and his inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the dead material elements are his inferior energy. In its dormant stage, everything remains in Krishna. The demigods continue to offer their respectful prayers unto the supreme form of the personality of Godhead Krishna by analytical study of the material manifestation. What is this material manifestation? It is just like a tree. A tree stands on the ground. Similarly, the tree of the material manifestation is standing on the ground of material nature. This material manifestation is compared to a tree because a tree is ultimately cut off in due course of time. A tree is called vriksha. Vriksha means that thing which will be ultimately cut off. Therefore, this tree of the material manifestation cannot be accepted as the ultimate truth because it is influenced by time. But Krishna's body is eternal. He existed before the material manifestation. He is existing while the material manifestation is continuing, and when it will be dissolved, he will continue to exist. Therefore, only Krishna can be accepted as the absolute truth. And as we know, in the Brahma Samhita it says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Nadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Sachit Ananda Vigraha. That the Lord's body is the Lord's body is composed of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And as we'll read later, we'll see what our bodies are compared to. So this is very important, that the Lord is existing while the material manifestation is continuing. In the Katha Upanishad also cites the example of the tree of the material manifestation standing on the ground of material nature. This tree has two kinds of fruits, distress and happiness. Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like two birds. One bird is the localized aspect of Krishna known as the Paramatma, and the other bird is the living entity. The living entity is eating the fruits of this material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruit of happiness and sometimes he eats the fruit of distress. But the other bird is not interested in eating the fruit of distress or happiness because he is self-satisfied. And as we know, Lord Krishna is called Atmaram. Atmaram means self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one bird on the tree of the body is eating the fruits and another bird is simply witnessing. The roots of this tree extend in three directions. This means that the root of the tree is the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Just as the tree's root expands, so by association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands its duration of material existence. The tastes of the fruits are of four kinds: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation. According to the different associations in the three modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of sense gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are three qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through five senses. The five senses are the five senses that are being mentioned here are your legs, hands, arms, genitals, and your voice. These are the five senses. The five sense organs, the taste of these material fruits is accepted through five senses. The five sense organs through which knowledge is acquired are subjected to six kinds of whips: lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, and thirst. This material body or the material manifestation is covered by 7 layers: muscle, blood, marrow, bone, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. And then there are the 9 gates in this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, 1 rectum. And then there are the 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: prana, apana, udana, vyana, samana, etc. The 2 birds seated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. To elaborate more on this very elaborate last paragraph, I'm going to read Srila Prabhupada's purport from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is 10:27, because it is further explained by Srila Prabhupada certain points that are not explained in this purport. Because this is so key, so well presented, no scientist can present this the way it is presented. No one can present it except a pure devotee of the Lord, because it's coming from Krishna himself. So I wanted to just take a moment and quickly read how Srila Prabhupada is explaining this in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's verse number 27. Okay, I'm just there. So the translation is: the body, the total body and the individual body are of the same composition, may figuratively be called the original tree, From this tree, which fully depends on the ground of material nature, come two kinds of fruit: the enjoyment of happiness and the suffering of distress. The cause of the tree, forming its three roots, is association with the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. The fruits of bodily happiness have four tastes: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, which are experienced through five senses for acquiring knowledge in the midst of six circumstances, which are lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. The 7 layers of bark covering the tree are skin, blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, and semen. And the 8 branches of the tree are the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and force, ego. The tree of the body has 9 hollows: the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, the mouth, the rectum, and the genitals. And it has 10 leaves. And the 10 airs passing through the body are compared to the 10 leaves. In this tree of the body, there are 2 birds. One is the individual soul, and the other is the super soul. Purport: this material world is composed of 5 principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, all of which are emanations from Krishna. Although materialistic scientists may accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of the material manifestation, these elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna, whose marginal potency also produces the living entities working within this material world. The 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita clearly states that the entire cosmic manifestation is a combination of 2 of Krishna's energies: the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the inanimate material elements are his inferior energy. In the dormant stage, everything rests in Krishna. Material scientists cannot give such a thorough analysis of the material structure of the body. The analysis of the material scientist concerns itself only with inanimate matter. But this is inadequate because the living entity is completely separate from the material bodily structure. In Bhagavad Gita 7.5, the Lord says, "Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjun, there is a superior energy of mine, which consists of all the living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. Although the material elements emanate from the Supreme Personality of God and Krishna, they are separated elements and are sustained by the living elements." As indicated by the word Dvikaga. So I did not read the translation, the verse, I just read the translation. There is the word Dvikaga. The living elements within the material, within the body resemble the 2 birds in a tree. Ka means sky and Ga means one who flies. So thus the word Dvikaga refers to birds. In the tree of the body there are 2 birds or 2 living elements, and they are always different. In Bhagavad Gita 13.3, the Lord says, "Kshetragyam chapimam vidhi sarvas kshetrisu bharata." O Sion of Bharata, you should understand that I am the knower of in all the bodies. The Kshetragya, the owner of the body, is also called the Kaga, the living entity. Within the body there are 2 such Kshetragyas, the individual soul and the super soul. The individual soul is the owner of his individual body, but the super soul is present within the bodies of all living entities. Such a thorough analysis and understanding of the bodily structure cannot be obtained anywhere but in the Vedic literature. When 2 birds enter a tree, one may foolishly think that the birds become one or merge with the tree, but actually they do not. Rather, each bird keeps its individual identity. Similarly, the individual soul and the super soul do not become one, nor do they merge with matter. The living entity lives close to matter, but this does not mean that he merges or mixes with it. Asangoyayam Purusha. Although material scientists mistakenly see the organic and inorganic or animate and inanimate to be mixed, Vedic knowledge has been kept imprisoned or concealed, but every human being needs to understand it in truth. The modern civilization of ignorance is simply engaged in analyzing the body, and thus people come to the erroneous conclusion that the living force within the body is generated under certain material conditions. People have no information of the soul.
But this verse gives the perfect explanation that there are two living forces, Dvikaga, the individual and the super soul. And the super soul is present in every body. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hirdesu arjuna tishtati. Whereas the individual soul is situated only in his own body, dehi, and is transmigrating from one body to another. So I'll go back to reading, but we can see how well it has been explained. And even in the Bible, Lord Jesus does say that the body is the temple of God. And if we look at it and we see what we have just read, temple of God, why? Because the Paramatma feature of the Lord is present within us. So this was very, very well explained. So I just wanted to read that, and I'll go back to reading where I was. So I was at the root cause. The root cause of the material manifestation described here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself to take charge of the three qualities of the material world. Vishnu takes charge of the mode of goodness, Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Brahma, by the mode of passion, creates this manifestation. Lord Vishnu maintains this manifestation by the mode of goodness, and Lord Shiva annihilates it by the mode of ignorance. The whole creation ultimately rests in the Supreme Lord. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And when the whole manifestation is dissolved in its subtle form as his energy, it rests within his body. At present, the demigods pray the Supreme Lord Krishna is appearing just for the maintenance of this manifestation. Actually, the supreme cause is one, but less intelligent persons, being deluded by the three modes of material nature, see that the material world is manifested through different causes. Those who are intelligent see that the cause is one, Krishna, as it is stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of all causes. Brahma is the deputed agent for creation. Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna for maintenance, and Lord Shiva is the expansion of Krishna for dissolution. Our dear Lord, the demigods prayed, it is very difficult to understand your eternal form or personality. People in general are unable to understand your actual form. Therefore, you are personally descending to exhibit your original eternal form. Some of people can understand the different incarnations of your Lordship, but they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna with two hands moving among human beings exactly like one of them. This eternal form of your Lordship gives ever increasing transcendental pleasure to the devotees, but for the non-devotees this form is very dangerous. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very pleasing to the sadhus, pratranaya sadhunam. But this form is very dangerous for the demons, because Krishna also desires to kill the demons. He is therefore simultaneously pleasing to the devotees and dangerous to the demons. We know in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states very clearly that fools deride him when he descends in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. And that is in the most confidential, it's in the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it's verse number 11, that the Lord says that fools deride him because he comes in a two-formed. So they cannot understand that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, you are the source of pure goodness. There are many great sages who simply by samadhi or transcendentally meditating upon your lotus feet and thus being absorbed in your thought have easily transformed the great ocean of nescience created by the material nature into no more than the water in a calf's hoof print. The purpose of meditation is to focus the mind upon the personality of Godhead, beginning from his lotus feet. Simply by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages cross over the vast ocean of material existence without difficulty. The main point that we should also understand that Srila Prabhupada is trying to mention is that Krishna is the supreme controller. He controls both the finite and infinite. And at the same time, he's aloof. And this is the philosophy of Achintya Veda, Veda Tattva. Being simultaneously one and simultaneously separate from his creation. So this is a very important aspect of the philosophy that we should understand, simultaneously one and separate. That the Lord is creating everything, but the Lord is aloof from that creation. And just like Archita Prabhu yesterday mentioned, with our tiny minds, it is very difficult to understand these things. And because we are at going to 8:15, and it is, I want to leave it, I want to stop here and the class can continue tomorrow because we are leaving it right at meditation. Unless someone has more to expand on this or has any further questions.
My question is hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita equivalent to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yes, when we speak of transcendental literature, it says transcendental literature. Transcendental literature is anything that explains the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we know that Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate studies of all this. The talk that was held between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is regarded as literally the most highest conversation you can have on the topic of God. So it is transcendental literature. Srimad Bhagavatam class ke